Fox News Podcasts presents the Bret Baier Podcast with Fox News Chief Political Anchor Bret Baier.
Ken Langone, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here.
You know, I have this book that I'm writing, The Case for America, that comes out ahead of the 250th of America, and essentially asking the question, what does it mean to be an American today? Why, if you were making the case in court, what would you say? Why is America a great place? You have a unique story, but why overall, 30,000 feet, would you make the case for America?
Because it's still alive and well. It's battered right now. It's beaten up a little bit right now, but there's no place on earth like America. The American dream is alive and well. Now, you have to work a little harder to find it, but it's there. And when you think about the alternatives to other countries, and you see what happens here, you know full well that the opportunities are still here. You got to, I have to say, it's a little harder to find them. You got to work your tail off. And you got to really believe in what you're doing. And most importantly, and I'm now pitching Home Depot, the customer comes first. You give the customer what he wants, not what you want him to have. If a guy comes into our store to buy a hammer to put a little picture up on the wall, don't sell him a $90 hammer with a fiberglass handle. Sell him the $3 hammer with a little wood handle and send him home happy, realizing he's got the tool he needs. So I think there's going to be much greater, and this is Walmart does this to a perfection. I think Walmart's phenomenal. Why? They give the customer what they want at an affordable price with a wide selection. That's simple. And I think in any business you're involved in, any business, you got to be sensitive to what the customer needs and what the customer wants. So if you do that, sky's the limit.
As the grandson of immigrants who came to America seeking a better life, what were the lessons you learned as a child about the meaning of America?
Believe in America. I asked my grandfather one time during World War II on a Sunday, the kids used to get together at my grandmother's house for Sunday gravy. And I asked my grandfather if he'd ever been back to Italy. And Mom had to come into the living room where I was talking to him because he couldn't speak English. And she said to him, Kenneth wants to know, have you ever been back to Italy? And he said, no. And I said, well, why wouldn't he go back? She asked him, and he said, there was nothing there for me. That's why I left. This is where the dreams were. This is where the dreams are. There's no place on earth like this. And, I put this flag on every day. I look up at the ceiling. Grandma and Grandpa, thanks for coming to America. It's that simple. We got problems. We do crazy, foolish things, and we get involved in situations that we shouldn't be involved in. But net, show me a batch.
You talk to young people today, and they get bombarded by these thoughts that America maybe isn't the best place, and the Constitution maybe doesn't fully work or should be changed. I mean, you see that, right?
Yeah, but we have a mechanism for change of the Constitution. Go do it. If it means that much to you, go do it. And for example, I'm a staunch advocate of term limits. Not so staunch as to give up everything else I'm doing and go out and campaign for a constitutional amendment. But look, I'll say it again. You show me a place that even comes close to what we have here. Look at the number of people that, thank God, we bring along with us without effort. The number of people that couldn't provide for themselves, and we help them. We are a very compassionate, humane society. And through all this noise and all of this pivoting that's going on, look beyond that and see the greatness of America.
You didn't come from wealth or privilege.
No, not at all. My dad was a plumber. My mother worked in a school cafeteria.
Yeah, you worked hard when you were young to pull yourself up in a variety of jobs, right?
Oh, yeah. Look, they lived from paycheck to paycheck. But God bless them. They were the best parents you could ever have. They never complained. They were thrilled to be here. They were thrilled that my brother and I were getting a good education in the public schools, and we were. That's something we need to work on here in America today. I think the quality of public education is deplorable today. And we have to fix that. Who loses? The poor kids that can't go to a Catholic school or a private school or a charter school. The kids that are stuck in these, look at the numbers. We want to make sure we give up the American dream, make sure we educate a number of generations in a poor way that they can't compete globally.
We'll hear more after this.
So what was the formative experience that taught you that this is the land of opportunities? Was there a story, something that stood out
World War
for you?
II. I remember going to the movies on Sundays and the propaganda movies and going home and feeling good, because the good guys always won. And we referred to the Japanese and to the Germans in a slang word which you don't use anymore, thank God. But look at what we did in World War II. From nothing. Don't forget, 1940, we were on our butt. We became the arsenal for democracy. All those weapons, all that equipment, that was the last noble war, in my opinion, World War II. I think we could look back in Korea and say, well, we at least stopped that. Vietnam was a horrible mistake. I'm reading a book now by David Halberstam. I can't think of the name of the book. It's sad the way we were misled by our leaders. Okay, same with Iraq. Same with Iraq. Iraq was a true $2 trillion war. In Afghanistan, we got nothing for it. We don't have the opportunity. We don't have the resources to now engage in such folly.
Can you recall like a particular experience earlier in your life that informed your later business success?
Yes. I was a kid, and I worked in a grocery store. I had all kinds of jobs. And next door to the grocery store was a liquor store. And the fellow that ran the liquor store, Lenny Ortman, hired me to take the empty boxes out twice a week because the garbage company wouldn't pick them up in his back porch of his store. And so twice a week I'd take it to where they'd do it. One morning I was taking the boxes out, and the garbage truck that takes them away was breaking the boxes up. I said, what are you doing? He said, this is worth a lot of money. What do you mean? Oh, yeah. He said, I go to the salvage place, and they pay me for the cardboard. So I said, well, how much do you make off the cardboard we give you? He said, maybe every other day $1.50, $2. I'm doing the math, and I'm saying, wait a minute. Lenny's paying me $2. I can make $4. So I go to Lenny, and I said, Lenny, he was a good man. I'll tell you how good a man he was. I go to Lenny, and I tell him, I said, Lenny, I don't want to get paid anymore, but let me break the boxes up and keep them here in a pile, and I'll take them out once a week. And he says, okay, but you got to break the boxes up because he says, I can't afford it. We did it. He stopped paying me, and I stopped. 2 years later, I'm walking past the store. I'll never forget this. He says, hey, I hear you're going to college. I said, yeah. He said, come on in. He takes me around the back of the counter, and there's a little wall, and he had liquor bottles in the wall, and in the back of the wall was this little business desk where he paid his bills and stuff. He opens up the drawer, and he takes out an envelope, and he gives me the envelope, and he says to me, I hope you can use this in college. He's put the same amount of money he was paying me in an envelope for me. What did it teach me? It taught me about kindness. It taught me about respect. It taught me about, sadly, we had 2 Jewish families in that town. They were the kindest, nicest, most generous families in the town. And that's one of the reasons I wear this, because those are the things that taught me. There's good in all of us. And I think a lot now about my own philanthropy. I think of it in terms of Lenny Ortman. So he doesn't know it. I'm giving away a hell of a lot more than he gave to me, and I'm loving it. In fact, I was having lunch today with Cardinal Dolan's brother, and I'm walking out of Fresco's, and this fella comes up and, hey, your hospital saved my life. Your hospital saved my life. I said, I think we had doctors and we have science. And no. He said, your hospital saved my... I can't buy that. Only in America.
Only in America.
That's what I mean.
Last thing, I only have a minute.
Sure, go ahead.
If you're making the case for America in front of the jury of the world, what would the primary point be, the primary values be?
It may be a little more difficult to achieve than it was in the past, but it's still possible. Help people dream their dreams and live their dreams. Help encourage people to give it a shot. We started Home Depot. We raised $2 million. Nobody believed you can't have low prices, wide assortment, and great service. We said, we can't. Well, let's see if we can. Well, we did. Everybody assumed the hardware store might do $6, $7, $8 million. We have stores today that do over $100 million a year in business. That makes up for, so we had low prices, great service, and wide assortment. Live your dreams. And if you don't live them, at least try to live them. That's just as good.
That's great stuff. Ken, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Listen ad-free with a Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.